Hello and welcome to the Philippines. I'm just leaving Alan's camera shop down downtown area, Cebu City. I've got a Canon 6D camera that isn't operating properly. In fact, it won't take a picture at this present time. And the estimate is 6,500 pesos if they can fix it. They think they can. About 130 US dollars. Going to take just a few days to get it fixed. I know several expats who've used them, and they all have high recommendations there. There's Alan's Photo and Camera Shop. There's a Unitop store over there, kind of a discount big store. And so it's just across the street and down the street just a little bit from there if you are in need of a camera repair shop. Anyway, got a McDonald's, you've got a few malls down here in the downtown area. Time to get some water. I am walking to Carbone Market, and I will put up another video about some of the changes taking place on Carbone Market shortly, in a couple days hopefully. And you've got a Metro store mall over there. You've got a Novo. I believe Novo is kind of like a little mall similar to Unitop, I believe. I have not been in there. And then you've got a number of malls. You've got a little further down by the South Bus Terminal, you've got E-Mall, Elizabeth Mall, and I've got video footage. I've taken a number of trips down there. I will try to put that up at some point in time. Not too distant future, but this is kind of a main intersection. I'm going to walk across the street and straight ahead for a few blocks, and I'm going to take a right and walk down towards Carbone Market, a huge wholesale retail market. They've got fresh fruit and vegetables, local, as well as from other islands, as well as imported items there. They've got hardware. They've got a section where it's mostly clothes and ukay, second-hand clothes, shoes, and what else? They've got the fresh meats. Early in the morning, they process the animals, and they've got fresh meat out there. They've always got fish, chickens, eggs, almost anything that you could need. One doesn't see many foreigners down here, many tourists, many expats. And when I first came here in 2015, I mentioned to a few Filipinos that I wanted to come down here. And they said, "No, sir, you don't want to go down there. It's dangerous." And after a couple of months, I just decided I was going to take my chance. And I came down here, and very crowded. Here in November 2021, this is, we're in the Christmas season, and very sparsely populated compared to normal times. Millions of people out of work. Those that have work are supporting their families, so even though many of the stores are open, there's not a whole lot of commerce going on, I believe. There are several hotels and pension houses down in this downtown area. It's a different vibe, different character than you get in the uptown area up by Fuente Osmeña Circle. And a lot has changed in the Philippines in the 5 years. I've had 3 trips, and I've lived here almost 6 years now. And a lot has changed. Buildings, they've replaced a lot of the jeepneys with cleaner, less polluting buses. A number of different bus companies out here now, and they're adding more buses. They've just, in the last couple of months, they've started allowing the jeepneys back in. They're supposed to undertake the pollution testing, and very rarely do I see. You used to see a lot of the jeepneys just belching out black smoke. You really hated to get behind one. very rarely, in fact, I can't remember the last time I saw a jeepney that was belching out the black smoke out of their exhaust pipe. Anyway, you've got hardware stores down here. You've got the industrial type hardware stores. You've got the consumer type hardware stores. I am told that I was looking for a drill a few years ago, and I talked to a lady that was selling drills and saws, electrical out on the street, and she admitted, yeah, they're knockoff brand. They're knockoff brand. So you want to be careful of what you're buying. One thing about the Philippines that was challenging, many of the brands here are different than what you're accustomed to in your country. And you don't have a consumer reporting agency that does the testing and says, well, these are the most reliable, and rates them on various characteristics. So you ask the salespeople, is this, or are the other expats who have had experience with the various brands, which ones to use. But I would say I've never seen it so few people down on this downtown area. That almost shocked me. I thought being in the middle of November, Christmas coming up, I figured there would be a lot more people here. And this was probably just early afternoon, probably. The last time I was down here, there was an area down here where they registered to vote. Got elections coming up next year here, and there was a huge crowd of people, and they were having trouble getting them to social distance. There people lined up, and people sharing pens and pencils to fill out their forms as they were lined up outside on the sidewalk for about a block or so. And I will put that video up when I do a video about some of the politics, political parties, some of the issues here in the Philippines, sometime in the next month or so. I and many of you, if you're a foreigner, you're not allowed to participate in politics here. That's my understanding, so you don't want to get involved in that. You could be arrested, deported, blacklisted. So best, if you want to be an activist, go back to your own country and do it there. There are a couple things happening that are worth noting. They had plastic dividers in jeepneys and buses. Those have effectively come down in most of them. The government has said, well, they probably don't work, and there's no science to back up the use of plastic. They may have even contributed to the spread of the virus, with the virus attaching to the plastic. And ideally they would be cleaned as people get in and off these buses and jeepneys, but in reality, they're not. They weren't. And face shields also. I think the Philippines is the only country that was requiring face shields, and they are only required in a hospital, medical clinic type situation at this point in most areas. Now, the federal government says they're still required, but many of the cities, Cebu City, Mandaue City, I think Lapu-Lapu, Iloilo, many of the cities up in the Manila area said baloney to the federal government. They said, you have a supervisory role according to the Constitution, and we can make our decisions, and we're deciding we're not going to mandate the use of face shields in addition to face masks. So I've already started seeing face shields littering the streets and highways. So it's I said this when they first started all this with the masks and the shields. It's tens of millions of tons of plastic and other other pollution, much of that going into the sea, into the drainage ditches and plugging up anything and everything when it rains. So we're seeing a relaxing of the rules here. Now on the other hand, back in Europe, U.S., Canada, it's winter. These viruses tend to be seasonal. You've got the flu season. You all know about the flu season, and influenza season, and generally those types of things. And this virus will start growing in the winter season. There's a number of reasons for that. Partly because people are getting less sun, less vitamin D. And I think YouTube doesn't allow people to talk about prevention. In this case, there's many top doctors who have been canceled and demonetized. So I can't bring up information about vitamin D helping you remain healthy. But there is some data out there if you want to do your own research. Lots of, they've got lawyers, they've got printing places, they've got, so there's some kind of government office down here, something going on where commerce takes place. Not quite sure. And I'm going to buy some coconut water here, 10, 15, and 20 sizes. I got the 15. Very cold and very good. Anyway, thanks for watching. Stay safe. Stay healthy. And I'll see you next time.